Hey guys, so today we're going to be telling you how to change your Getrag V160 or V161 fluid inside your Toyota Supra or whatever else you may have a Getrag, the $8,000 transmission swapped into. Firstly, you want to start by jacking it up. As you can see, I have already done. There are a few different jacking points according to the manual that you can use. According to the manual, it happens between these 2 points right here, these two dimples. I don't trust that because with the jacks I have, I'd be crushing the lip flat and I'd be causing damage to the side panels as well. So I've decided and opted not to do that. Instead, I've chosen the front engine support to jack it by and to put the engine stands under. It has done me well inside the front of the car. The rear, I use the frame rails because the weight of the back of the car isn't so extreme as the front to where the point it's going to crush the rails. Once you have that done, here's your Getrag right here. The fill bolt is on the side, right over here. I've already removed mine. And the drain bolt is going to be right, well, smack at the bottom. This is what the drain and fill bolts look like on a Getrag. It is a 17 mil and it threads in. I'm not using Teflon tape to seal it this time because, well, it never really leaked on me. But the fill and the drain bolt are exactly the same. So what you want to start with is taking your 17 mil and actually loosening the fill bolt on the side of the transmission first. Make sure you use a very shallow 17 mil socket. The purpose of this is factory usually over tightens the fill bolt and you don't want to drain all your fluids before finding out that you can fill it up in the first place. Better to have something than to have nothing. So once you got the fill bolt out, then you can start draining it. So unfortunately at the moment I am in deep shit right now because unlike a normal person where after you do an engine swap and you add the fluids and everything, I removed my 2JZ GE from the Supra previously and never drained the transmission fluid. I knew that it's a sealed transmission and it has a rear flange on the Getrag so that your fluid doesn't come out. Now what I didn't know is that a friend of mine drained it while I wasn't looking and didn't tell me about that. So I have a second gear whine right now coming from my transmission and it's an $8,000 transmission. So we'll find out soon enough if the fluid makes a difference, which I guarantee it will because I stopped driving the moment that it started causing me problems. But continuing on, so you have your 17 mil on the bottom, which you only do after the fill plug is removed. Maybe a 1.5 liters, 1.5 quarts should come out. This transmission uses just under 2 quarts to fill. I know it's a little amount. And the transmission fluid you can use, now this is a huge debate online, but after going through the experiences of the different kinds, I have to agree with them. Toyota V160 fluid is the best. It's made for it, it was revised for it, plain and simple. Second place, which is just as good, well, for modern fluids, is the Toyota Type T for automatic transmission fluid. That's right, I said automatic transmission fluid. These Getrags actually come with a label on them. Mine was torn off when I did my swap, but had a label for ATF fluid only. That's because these things were actually labeled for automatic transmission fluid before the Getrag V161 fluid came out. So, Toyota Type T for ATF. Third place, only if you have to, is Royal Purple Synchromax. Inside the catalog for the fluid, it designates that it is for the V160 specifically. I'd use it more as an emergency kind of circumstance only. And the last fluid available is from Jack's Transmissions, and that's usually for transmissions built from them. So unless you have a built transmission, you don't even need to look into that. The V160 fluid costs around, well, we're in Canada, so it's about 80 bucks Canadian per bottle. And you require 2 bottles, so it's quite expensive. The Toyota Type T, I just picked that up for my car because it will do more than enough, and that cost a mere $7 a bottle. So we're going to fill that up in a few minutes. You require a pump from the bottle to pump it up into the transmission. Make sure you put in your drain plug first, obviously. And when it starts seeping right on the side of the fill bolt, you know it's full. Don't stop until you hit that point. We'll continue after this.
Holy shit! Wow.
So one more thing I should have added is that the drain bolt, it may come out with metal shavings on it, and what you want to do is really clean that off before you fill it back in, and really just wipe down the inside of the threads and the bolt just to clear it of debris. This is important if you don't want leaks and if you want it to torque to spec properly. So now I've done that, and we're going to go and throw it in. Now, I tried to find a torque spec for this bolt inside the manual, but was unsuccessful in doing so. So I used my friend Google instead. And what they have told me is that these bolts should be 29 foot-pounds. You will need a torque wrench for this. You could just go hand tight, but you are taking a risk. So let's just set that for 29. 30 probably won't make a difference. Okay, there we go. What you want to do is, it's a 17 mil, tighten that sucker down to 29. When you hear the clicking, you know you're good. And that is a lot deeper than the bolt was in before, so let's hope that my transmission's okay. Don't make the same mistake I did. The next section of this video, we will cover the pumping of the fluid into the transmission until it starts coming out, and then it's full, and we'll throw in our other plug, and then we'll be good. Okay, so the next step inside our video towards changing the fluid inside the Getrag transmission is filling the transmission. So we're going to start by opening our bottle. Oh, it's wonderful they don't have those stupid tabs that seal the bottle. Well, perfect. And you can get these pumps from any place, Walmart, Canadian Tire, well, for us. And what you want to do is you just put that sucker in there. Sometimes these things don't. Oh well, how about that? It actually clamps on. This one's from Walmart. Okay, so we have our tube inserted inside the fill plug of the transmission. The drain is torqued to spec, and we have our pump, which just magically fit our bottle, so we're lucky today, no messes. So let's begin pumping this. It is going to be difficult, and it is red Toyota ATF. So we have a little bit left over inside the bottle. We'll just pour that into the next one. We'll just throw this into the next bottle once we finish with that. Next one. There we go. So glad these things don't have seals on, so I don't have to puncture them when I'm down here. There we go. Do not spill this, or I'm going to be pissed off. There we go. Let's hope that this thing doesn't come out. Now you want to fill it until it starts seeping out, so keep a pan underneath. Okay, so for some reason this is actually bottle number 3 that's going in. Well, I know I haven't used up everything, but for safety measure, buy 3 bottles when you're doing this. Shouldn't take much more. If it takes 3, then there we go. Yeah, it's already bleeding out. So my transmission just started seeping oil, or ATF, so it is good now. As you can see, Toyota is red. It's all done. So you just take out your pump, tighten this bolt. The thing about the side bolt inside the Supra is that the fill plug is that it's a very narrow area, and you're gonna require a very shallow, almost a through socket set. I have one right here. For the fill plug on the Getrag, if you're using a Supra, you might find it handy to use one of these. This is a through socket. The socket goes through, and it's a lot shallower than a regular socket. Now, of course, you can't torque it to spec, but the fill plug isn't as important as the drain plug, so you just go to what feels like around 25-30 foot-pounds. It's not that difficult.
Hey, yo, Brendon.
What's up, brother?
What you doing into that car, bro?
Cleaning up the shit.
Oh, okay, bro. Yo, does that mean you took a shit under your car, bro?
Sometimes I have accidents. Now, one thing you guys want to make sure of is when you're finding a socket set to use on these fill and drain bolts, do not use a 12 point. This is my second set of bolts because I used a 12 point the first time, and when it's under around 160 foot-pound torque from factory, well, it just seems like that when it tightens itself over time, but it really messed up my bolts. It took me a couple days to get them out. I had to replace them. The bolts aren't expensive, but you don't want to do this. So get yourself a torque wrench, 3/8 should do. Half inch doesn't really matter. For the side bolts, get a through socket set because otherwise you won't be able to access the bolts. Do not use a wrench.